And I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my captain, Jeremy, because you know what? We nominated Jeremy to go up there. There were a lot of people nominating themselves to go up there for my team. And I told myself after that ball drop challenge, one thing I need to do was be more vocal, because my team had a horrible plan for catching the balls out of the ceiling. Horrible plan. And I should have stepped up and been willing to hurt some feelings there and ensure the victory for the team. And, you know, winning makes everything better, right? I saw some of them trying to nominate themselves, and I'm like, man, we're in trouble if they get up there. I got to support my man, Jeremy, here. And so I helped get Jeremy up there. And you know what? He went up there and he did it.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.
All Things Unexplained is free to watch on YouTube and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to support our show, you can visit our YouTube store. Additionally, you can find us on Venmo under All Things Unexplained. Be sure to check out our website, allthingsunexplained.com. All proceeds from the sales of Dr. Mounce's books on Amazon and Audible also go straight to our show.
Welcome back, Unexplained Ones, to Beast Games, Behind the Competition Part 2. If you haven't listened to Part 1 yet, hit pause and go check it out. We set the stage for everything you're about to hear. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Now, in Part 2, we're diving even deeper. I'm pulling back the curtain on my own experience, what it was really like competing as number 718, the mental and physical battles I faced, and the moments that pushed me to my limits. And I'm not alone. I've got some incredible Beast Games competitors joining me to share their own raw, unfiltered stories. So buckle up, because Part 2 is where the truth really comes out. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my captain, Jeremy, because you know what? We nominated Jeremy to go up there. There were a lot of people nominating themselves to go up there for my team. And I told myself after that ball drop challenge, one thing I needed to do was be more vocal, because my team had a horrible plan for the ball, for catching the balls out of the ceiling. Horrible plan. And I should have stepped up and been willing to hurt some feelings there and ensure the victory for the team. And, you know, winning makes everything better, right? I saw some of them trying to nominate themselves, and I'm like, man, we're in trouble if they get up there. I got to support my man, Jeremy, here. And so I helped get Jeremy up there. And you know what? He went up there and he did it. And I think actions speak so much louder than words. So I want to give a lot of credit to Jeremy and the others, but a lot of credit to my captain, Jeremy, for going up there and doing what we sent him up there to do and being a man of his word.
Well, let's talk about Jeremy, because he became a little bit of a divisive figure later on in the next episode, or maybe, the next episode. Some people loved him. Some people didn't love him. What were your guys' thoughts on Jeremy? Because I haven't seen episode 5. I need to watch episode 5. But in episode 4, when people were giving him the tokens to get on the helicopter, there were some people that were anti-Jeremy.
I didn't really know anything about Jeremy, but like the way that I'm seeing it, he's like a monk. Like, dude just had this zen, this riz, and you know, people trusted him. And sometimes like what's hidden in the dark eventually goes to light. So, you know, you got to be doing the right thing and treating people the right way for them to, you know, feel a certain way about you. So again, like you could see everything was pretty transparent in the game. So if people trusted and respected him, I have no doubt that he was living that life while we were playing the game.
Yeah.
So my take on him. So I ended up giving my coin to him reluctantly out of that to get the 100 that he needed, because, and I say reluctantly because I have I guess one major issue with him, maybe two. But I gave it reluctantly because I didn't want to lose a helicopter, and I was doing the numbers. I'm like, okay, I'd rather send 6 people that I don't know than for us to have those 6 people still here fighting. So that just made it a little bit easier. I mean, if you look at the odds number wise, it's such a tiny amount. It really wouldn't have mattered, but it's still, to think of a helicopter leaving empty would have been crazy.
Right.
My issue with them is, people was, because I would say I'm a fairly religious, spiritual person, and growing up in the South, I have Baptist minister friends and cousins of mine. Then he acted, his persona that he put on, I don't know if it's real, cool. If it's not, it seemed fake to me, and that's why I like my Baptist minister cousins of mine. They are in it for the money. They're not in it to to help people or anything. It's about bringing them the money. And I'm here going, okay. And I see him kind of portraying the same picture throughout the whole Beast City. And I may be wrong, and I'll be the first one to admit if I am wrong, please correct me. But he just portrayed that, and he kept acting towards that. And I'm like, dude, it's like the people growing up in in the South. People come to you and the first thing they tell you, well, I'm a Christian. And that's when you have to go make sure your wallet's still in your pocket. It's like, wait a second, that's not the first thing you say. You introduce yourself, you'll be nice to people, and people know that you're Christian based off of how you are, not what you say. And so that was my issue with him, because I could see that he ended up getting this large group of people that just followed him. Almost in many cases, some of them just like didn't even know why they were following him. I'm like, wait a sec. I mean, I'm a believer of God and a believer of Christ, but you're taking it to a different direction, and I saw it where it was potentially manipulation, and he was manipulating people to get what he wanted. And now that's my take, and obviously TV kind of portrayed it the same way, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
He could, yeah. I mean, I feel the cultish vibe as well. Like I saw some things, I'm just like, that's interesting. But like everything was going so fast that like you don't really know what's going on. You're just like, oh, it's a flock of people.
Right. And given all that you guys went through, given all the trauma that you went through, if somebody was offering some sort of spiritual guidance, bigger picture of what we're all doing here, you could see where people would be drawn to that in those situations. Like what is the reason that we're all here together? And maybe Jeremy was offering.
I mean, I wasn't going to drink Kool-Aid, I can tell you that.
And that was apparent in the episode that people were followers of Jeremy, or they had that exact sentiment. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you, I still remember when I first met Jeremy. We were both on a Beast Games shuttle van, and he was sitting in the back by himself, flannel shirt on, and quiet. And we started speaking, right? And one thing about him, he would spend time with you, and he would talk to you, and he would listen to you until you were done.
That's amazing with you, because
I know. I know. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not a common trait. It's not a common personality trait. I admit I have problems with it. I'm ADD. I'm adult onset hyperactive, non-attentive person. Whatever you want to call it, too much coffee, etc. I grew up religious. I did some prayer circles in episode 0 in Vegas, and my hair helped me with that, because people would come up to me and recognize me and like, oh, we saw you doing the prayer circle, and they would want to join in. We started doing them before the challenges. But I thought he was genuine, and I think most of all, he did what he was sent to do as the leader of my team. And in my book, I mean, loyalty is like everything to me. And in my book, That was it. What more could we have asked for?
Oh, I
Yeah.
agree with loyalty is huge. I agree with that.
And yeah, if he was there to manipulate people, what was the manipulation for? Because you would think anybody that was on Beast Games, end game is the money. So you would think the manipulation would be for the money. And then he got up there and didn't push the button for the $1 million. So
5 million is bigger than 1 million, though.
right, but he would have been able to continue competing.
Well, so if you think about, so say he took the $1 million and eliminated
Yeah.
his entire group, then who would trust him anymore?
Right.
So
But I could tell you this alternatively, and I'm not saying I know anything, but I'll tell you this. Would you have wanted to go into a final sort of survivor style vote against one of the captains that didn't take the bribe?
No.
Better believe you would not want to.
Yeah.
Right. And that's part of why everybody gave their token, because he gave up that bribe.
Yeah. I mean, it's admirable. I mean, he gave up $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know that I could do it.
And I'll tell you something else to these captains. Shout out to them for this reason too. Episode 3, the truly the cubes of horror. That's what I called them from the very time I went in there, and they were horrible in real life. They were. TV can sensationalize things. CJ and I know this from things like The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, right? TV, obviously, it's going to sensationalize things. It's just the nature of the beast. Well, the Cubes of Horror is a situation where they didn't sensationalize it enough. I'm here to tell you it was much more traumatic in real life.
Yeah.
And guess what? Those 4 captains could have easily played that up in their cube and been like, look, y'all, I turned down $1 million. I need to stay. Jeremy didn't do it. Dino didn't do it.
Well, Harrison was
the
offered
lady
it
didn't
like
do
3
it.
times.
Yeah, and Harrison didn't do it. And look what happened
And
to
he
Harrison.
got eliminated in the cube, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah,
He
that
got
was
eliminated.
crazy, man. That was
And-
crazy.
And you know what? I think that also speaks volumes about each of their characters. I mean, in my opinion, we're just, if we say anything else about them, it's just speculation. But look and see how they actually, what their actions portray, and I think that really says a lot.
I think that's really it. I mean, I didn't really talk to Jeremy much, so I can't really. I just know that he portrayed that vibe to me, and maybe because of trauma from me growing up around some of these Baptist minister cousins of mine that just would try to force it down your throat. I'm like, listen, hold on. We all are at different pace. Now, you may be up here, but I'm down here. So let's do. And so maybe that's what it was with me with him. So I mean, I know we're friends on Instagram, so there's that. But we haven't really talked much. I mean, that's the thing. You don't really know someone until you sit down and have a conversation, and then multiple conversations. So there's that. Yeah.
I just had this memory. I'm a classic country buff sometimes. And I just had this memory that I was talking to Jeremy after the Cubes of Horror, and he asked me, if I wanted to pray with him. I was not in a good mood. I was not in a good mood. I don't know if I needed prayer, but this country song I love, it popped in my head. I'm like, no offense, Jeremy, but me and Jesus, we got our own thing going. I'm just going to take care of it over here by myself. But I appreciate you.
That's dope.
Oh, all right. So let's hear some things that maybe we didn't see on the show that you guys are allowed to talk about. Any drama or scandal or behind the scenes things that were funny, things that happened that didn't make the show, things you've been holding on to. Wes, you got any?
Well, a bunch of stuff that happened in Vegas that they didn't show. How whenever we were doing the platforms, how that was very quick. And the team with the girl that tried to jump off for 50 grand, they were livid. They were getting in production's face, Jimmy's face, and it was kind of scary what was happening.
Yeah, they separated them too. They put her over here and they kept him over here.
Yeah, they just separate.
So this is the challenge where they wheeled out the money. The first was what, $5,000, right?
$5,000.
$5,000. If you leave your platform, everybody's eliminated. Who wants the $5,000? Nobody took it. Then $50,000. Before he even finished saying it, that girl jumped off her platform and went for it. So then these guys all went wild.
It was their ticket to Amazon Prime. It was the last step. So you got to think 99 people, they saw it, and yeah, they had to go home. But didn't a couple of them come back to Toronto? Because
I know there's some people from the red team that were eliminated at the first challenge. I saw. Well, okay, so the guy that they showed that was actually bad-mouthing Jeremy the most, he was eliminated. He was on the red team. Kenyon, that's his name, Kenyon. He was and they pulled him back because not everybody can take away enough time to go film these things. So he was asked to come back. So he came back, and then you had there were several people from the red team that from Vegas that went through.
Okay. All right. So we didn't get to see that. You're right. What else? Who else has the juicy details?
I got some juicy details.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I got two. I'll start off on a good note. When we had the bribe that went from 10K to 100K.
Yes.
I sat back with, we all sat back in these groups of people on the bus, and either you were quiet and you were playing a game, or you got to know the people around you. And I had this really cool opportunity to just connect with everyone that was sitting around, just, seeing where people are from, who they are. I got a good feel for, the energy that was in the room. And it was a bunch of young kids who were just really excited to be a part of this experience. And I was like, that's cool. Like I'm in the same boat. And so when we got told that the 4 people across from you, or 5 or 6, however many you had, basically we're going to be a team, and whoever took the bribe, basically eliminated your team. I brought everyone to my platform, and I just said, hey guys, like, I'm not here to take whatever they ask, and I know that we're going to have a great opportunity at the city. How do you guys feel about it? And everyone was kind of like, they were feeling the same thing. And so I asked them, I was like, do you guys mind if we just like hold hands and pray real quick? And we all prayed like in this circle, and the producers came up to us at the end. They're like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Because we didn't really know what was going to happen. And nobody took the bribe. And two out of those 5 people ended up making it top 20, top 25. So even though they made it further than me, I'm still really happy that like some of the people that came from my group got to experience more of the Beast Games.
Yeah. That's cool. Jesse, what was your number again on Beast Games?
I was 445.
Okay. Gotta go back and watch it now. All right, 445.
And then the last part. I had an antagonist. I had a guy. So on the flags, I got, in the middle of the pack. I wasn't too worried about speed. I was kind of I actually took a nap in the back for a little bit. And when I went up, I told the group of people that were, in front of me, I was like, hey, I'm gonna grab this number 446. And this guy goes next to me. He's like, no, I'm grabbing that. I said, okay, cool. Well, I'll grab 445. And he says, well, she's grabbing that. And then I go, okay, how about this? I'm gonna grab 445. Because you guys just randomly said it, and there's 447 right there, and you guys can grab that. And so before they say ready, set, go, he like got in front of me and like shrugged me on my shoulder. And I asked him, I was like, can you please move out the way? And then he got in front of me a second time. And so I was like, bro, like of all the people you want to like mess with, like I'm not the dude. I'm not the guy. So I just had to dust him on this sprint, and I just like looked back at him. I was like, "Who do you think you are, boy?" And I took my flag, and I told him after I took the flag, I said, "When you do stuff like that, you create enemies, and you just created one." And he goes, "Oh man, I wasn't trying to like take your flag or anything." I go, "No, I know exactly what you're doing, and just it's on from here." And so, yeah, man, I noticed that he, when our team was trying to figure out, who was going to be the leader of the captain or blah, 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 like everyone was like 445. And then when he heard that, and then he saw who I was, then he's like, oh, hell no, do not let this guy be the leader. And so he like went to the producers, and he like told the producers that like, I was blackballing him or like going after him or something like that. And and this group of people were like, no, dude, like we saw what you did with the flags. He told us the story, and then like we're seeing how you act now. So long story short, having to defend yourself in the middle of the games and like let the producers know like dude, I'm playing clean, like this, you guys can watch the footage of what happened. And then just going through that was interesting. It was kind of amusing, but it was just draining too. At
Well,
the
and
same
did
time.
he get flag 446? Were you guys right next to each other on the?
I don't know what flag. No, he wasn't 446.
Okay.
I don't know what number he ended up getting.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was just some juicy details behind the stories.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the producers were really like giddy up. Oh yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's more stories.
Yeah, I had a dramatic situation with the flags too, similar to Jesse's. As a matter of fact, now keep in mind, I don't think any of us were our right selves at that point. I know I was major sleep deprived. I mean, it's going to bed at 6 a.m. and for me, sun's coming up at 6:30, and I'm popping up with the sun. I'm like, and I don't think I slept on the stuff on the floor anyway. Did y'all see? They verified what the stuff on the floor was. Did y'all see that?
That's what they were wondering if we were all allergic to it. That was in that letter. That's the pits, right?
Olives, yeah,
olive pits.
The floor really was made out of olives, and they showed it on a behind-the-scenes video, which is pretty interesting if y'all haven't watched that yet. But yeah, do y'all remember where at some point they were like, when you get ready to go, make yourself get up to the front of the line, right, and kind of announce like, hey, I'm about to go, coming up to the front. Well, I did that. So I start to realize what's happening, by the way. Y'all heard them talk about it on the show. This phenomenon where everybody thinks they're being super fair and everything, but they're really screwing over the people at the end because not many people are going out. So if you are waiting, you're suddenly in more and more trouble. So I'm like, I got to go. So I get myself down there and I kind of announce, hey, I'm coming up to the front, And these three younger girls, they look back at me and they're like, no, you ain't getting up here at the front. We're about to go. And I said, okay, okay. And so I get down into what I call beast mode right behind them, right? Like I line up like a track, like I'm about to bust out of a track gate right behind them. And they see what's going on. They look back at me and they say, you better not knock us over. I said, look, when that air horn goes off, I'm busting out of here. And I ain't going to shove you down on purpose. But what happens when that air horn goes off, I can't promise you. I don't know what's going to happen. And so at some point I decided, though, you know what? I really do want to be at the front. So I'm just going to bluff this one. I'm not going. So the air horn goes off. A couple of them hesitate and they stumble out there. And the third one, she doesn't go. So I get myself all the way to the front. All right, now I'm getting ready to go. And she looks at me and she says, which flag are you going for? And I point about 30 yards ahead of me. I said, I'm going for that one right there. It's straight ahead of me, but about 30 yards out, not the closest one. And she said, but that's the one I'm going for. I said, good luck. That's all I could tell you. Good luck. I came here to compete. So let's get after it. And so that air horn goes off and look, I went there to kind of, I guess you call it a midlife crisis, but I ain't got many more glory days left in me. So I bust out there like Carl Lewis in the 98 Summer Olympics, and I'm getting after that flag, right? And I snatch that flag up. I'm like, boom, this is my Olympic moment. I'm holding the flag, I'm treating it like the torch at the Olympic ceremony kind of thing. Out of nowhere, that girl, she clips me from behind, clips me in the bottom of the legs, and grabs the bottom of the flag. Like she dove and clipped me in the back of the legs and grabbed the bottom of the flag. Well, I made a nemesis there too, because some people on the side saw that and saw her laying on the ground, thought I had shoved her down and took her flag, because I did. I jerked that flag away from her. I said some words I shouldn't have said. And I started making my way to the safe zone with the flag, right? Well, I'm on my way to the safe zone. And she comes busting out of nowhere again and dives and grabs the flag again and starts having a tug of war with me. Well, do y'all remember how long the instant replay took in the briefcases? And they decided, you know what? No more instant replay. We ain't doing instant replay for the flags. We got these judges out here, or y'all can rock, paper, scissors. And you know what? Those judges wasn't seeing anything. So I don't know if y'all noticed, but people started grabbing onto a flag. whether they were the first one or not, because they realized if a judge didn't see, hey, I still got a 50-50 chance going on because they're going to make us rock, paper, scissors. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, God, please don't make me have to do rock, paper, scissors with this girl when I won the flag. Like I actually had a skill moment here and won the flag. And luckily, this judge comes out of the side and like, no, it's his. He had it. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And he drug her off the flag into the red doors. And you never seen somebody get to the safe zone so fast with the flag.
Sounds like the flags were a lot of drama. A lot of drama for flags. All right, Devin, how about you?
I mean, other than sending the guy home that was creeping on the girls, I mean, I had a flag. My flag moment was pretty intense because I was doing the averages. I was counting down. This many people have gone out. This many, and it backfired on me. The only thing that was my saving grace when it came to that was when Carl did the false start and he said "yo" instead of them doing the bullhorn, which was hilarious. And it was like, what, 30, 31, 32 people got eliminated immediately off that. But I had this little girl beside me, and she looks and she says, "What flag you going for?" I said, 10:55. She goes, "Oh, that's my flag." I said, "This is the last run. He said there's no more after this. There are no more." I said, "It's this fat man against you and all the other people that are in this room." And she says, "But that's my flag." I'm like, "Here's the deal. There's that flag. There's one behind it, and there's one behind that. Then there's like two over to the right. Just run and get a flag." She goes, "But that's my flag." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "When I hear that bullhorn, you have to outrun me. That's all I'm going to say." I said, "And it's easy because I'm a 46-year-old overweight man. You should be able to outrun me." And so when it bullhorn, I just took off. I just remember running so fast. I grabbed that flag. And like you said, because people were doing the rock, paper, scissors thing, I pulled that sucker in so close and I was holding it like this that Carl brought a camera out and got right in my face. He goes, "Why were you hugging that thing like that?" I'm like, "I don't want to have to fight it among other people with it. I just want it to be mine." So,
yeah.
I mean, I think that most of the drama in many cases was probably Vegas. I mean, my opinion.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are sleep deprived and underfed and over sugared and
smell bad.
Well, the thing is, the food,
no showers.
No showers. Well, the food in Vegas. Here's the take that I got from this. So I talked to a lot of the producers and things like that. That was all. They gave us enough food to sustain life. They gave us the same bland, normal food all the time. It was to try to force people to leave because they were trying to push to get to that 1,000 number as fast as possible. And people just were stubborn. The food was obviously not a deterrent enough to get them out. So, no one.
I loved it, man.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I love that hard-boiled egg, man. It made me feel like, well, because I cut weight as a boxer and stuff like that, and so just to like, I live in that type of domain, and so just to see everyone's just the psychology of like people breaking down and like not wanting to go any further, I'm just like, oh my God, I love it. And then I think I would piss people off because I'm just like, I'd just be so happy. I'm like, "You guys ready for lunch?" They're like, "Why are you happy?" I'm like, "Because this is lit. This is amazing."
Out of all y'all's numbers, there's some on the even after the flags, they separated us for lunch. They said, "Okay, odds on this side, evens on this side." And I was an odd number. And when we go up to get our food, we got a feast. There was hoagies. There was charcuterie boards.
Yeah, that was messed up.
Yeah.
There was cupcakes.
I forgot about that.
There was so much food up there. And they gave us the normal rations that they gave us too. And then I'm here going, well, I don't want to eat this now. So I grabbed this hoagie and broke it in half. That here, you take this half and you take this half, and we just kind of split it up that way. And we had so much food, and then we find out that the even side, they just had the normal old meal.
Oh, that is messed up.
Yeah,
Again,
I was the even side.
I had good food. You did not.
And the eating really didn't bother me. I do some intermittent fasting. Only one part of the eating bothered me, and that was the lack of fruit. Y'all, I would have done like Survivor. I would have paid $1,000 for a banana, I was hurting for some fruit, and there was no fruit to be. I even asked. I got friendly with some of the workers, and every once in a while they'd or some of the temp workers, like the local people, and every once in a while they'd give you a little tip or let you have a little peek at something, And I was trying to find some dang bananas, and sometimes they'd be like, "No, man, the whole city sold out of bananas." I'm like, "What? The whole city sold out? What are you talking about?"
Well, I know a lot of people had issues with no new socks and no underwear, and they were doing. I know the underwear and sock thing was all done by name, by last name. So by the time it came around to me, I'm like, forget it. I'm not getting it. And it was like the last day they called my name, and it was like within a couple hours, I knew we had one more challenge to do. I'm like, forget it. I'm not even going to go over there to get it because I've waited this many days without it. I can last another few hours.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gave up on that quick. I mean, it was like 4 hours after they started. I go over their underwear line. They're on the bees.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the?
Yeah, and mine's young blood. So, I'm definitely not getting
the underwear line. Had to get in the underwear line.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you could see them sitting over there. And you're like, you could see the letters in front of them. And you're like, can I just go over there and look through the M's? Come on.
Right.
Like, no, man, no, you can't do that. You can't cross this line. We're going to kick you off the show.
I was in line and I gave him my name. It was before they did alphabetical order. The guy took it, went in the back, came up front, and then he was like, "Oh, we're going to do alphabetical." And I was like, "But I'm K." I was like, "Can I just get it?" They're like, "No, we're sorry." Luckily, the guy in our group got his and he had extra. And I was like, "Can I borrow some?" He was like, "Yeah, take whatever you want."
That's awesome.
Just sharing underwear. Yeah. We're just sharing underwear at Beast Games.
I figured
day 3.
Well, I mean, you can wear your underwear 4 times in a row because you can frontwards, backwards, and flip it right.
Flip it over. Yeah.
I think chapstick. I was hurting for some chapstick, man. I had to go up to like some random stranger. I was like, "Hey, you mind if I use some of your chapstick?" She's like, "Go for it." So like, I'd like find her like every 12 hours, like, "Hey, got more of that chapstick?"
But again, that was Vegas, and all that changed once we went to Toronto. I mean, there was so much food in Toronto. We had access to everything, no worries. I mean, and I know some people complain about medications in Vegas, but I never had problems getting medication. I walked straight into the little makeshift pharmacy and got my medication immediately, so that was no big deal. But I mean, once we got into Toronto, it was a total different game.
All right, you guys, Devin, Wes, Jesse, shout out to friends of All Things Unexplained, Strange Invaders, that UFO show, UFO Busters. I hope everybody checks them out. Hello, guys. Sad for LA people, they said. And that's right. And CJ, this will be a good time to remind everybody. We're scrolling across the bottom of our screen right now. If you feel so inclined, a way you can help with LA and the fires, and just send a delivery, Amazon, Target, Walmart, to the address you see there, Chef Lauren and Andrew Gruhl, 16600 Pacific Coast Highway, Huntington Beach, California, 92649. They most especially need kids' shoes of any sizes, and you can see the other items that they need down there below. And hello, UFO Busters. Welcome.
Yes, welcome to the show. And thank you to everybody that has tuned in and commented. We are talking Beast Games. And I've got to know, did you guys get to hang out with Jimmy, with Mr. Beast himself at all? How much was he actually present in the recording?
Jimmy was there, man. I mean, I got to speak to him in person a couple times. When we got to Canada, they brought us in small groups, just to connect with him for like 10, 15 minutes. But then he was in the city, he was walking around, and Nolan and Tarek and all the guys were there too. So it was pretty dope.
Yeah, we talked to Jimmy a little bit. I hung out with Carl and like Nolan more because Jimmy is, he's always, everybody wants it to be in front of Jimmy. I'm here going, you know what? Let Jimmy have some space,
Yeah. Did they stay in the city as well? Did they have a space there that they were sleeping, or were they leaving the city at night?
No, they had suites.
Yeah, they had nice hotels.
Yeah, I had Nolan was on my plane leaving RDU, and so was Tariq. And then I got to hang out with Carl on the towers in between filming. He was just acting goofy.
Yeah, that's Carl.
Yeah.
That seems to be his MO for sure.
Yeah, we played games in the city with them. We played games and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun.
To think that they're just like young 20-something guys that started making YouTube videos and now they are international celebrities, but they don't seem to have changed too much in their personalities.
No, they're kids, man. They're just
Yeah.
and it's wild. Like, imagine any of us, receiving that type of fame, like, and then also just trying to keep who you are, right? So I give it up for them, man. I think they did a great job on the show. It was really cool to meet them in person, and when we had the premiere, I actually I went up to Nolan and we were talking for like 15 minutes, and I was like, dude, like, if you ever come to LA, I can teach you how to fight. He's like, how? Teach me now. And so we made like a quick little like Instagram reel of like me showing him like some jabs and uppercuts and stuff, and I was throwing some hands at him. He's like, help me, help.
Oh, I saw y'all doing that.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. CJ, what do you think? Should we do one listener question and one hot take?
Yeah, let's do it. And then we'll send everybody on their way.
Well, this is all things unexplained. So how about we do a combo? Hot take on UFOs, or if you want to, the drone situation, if you're familiar with the drone situation.
Is the hot take just what's your hot take on UFOs? That's
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see where this goes.
Oh, all right. We'll start with Devin. Devin, what's your hot take on UFOs?
Well, I mean, I would have to say, if we're talking aliens, I'd have to say I'm not smart enough, or I would say I don't think I'm wise enough to say that they don't exist. But I don't know. I mean, I think they exist. I think that's real. I think the drones themselves, though, I think that's just like, our government got some good technology that we obviously don't know about. I mean, we didn't know about the SR-71 Blackbird until they decommissioned it. That's like any plane we get. So I don't know.
All right. Appreciate that. Wes, UFO hot take?
There has to be something out there. We can't just be the only planet sustaining life. There's so many experiences, instances with UFOs and the drones. And I think the drones are just some MIT person creating something and flying around, but there has to be aliens out there.
All right. Jesse, UFOs.
Man, so definitely know of some really interesting things that are out there. But one thing that I want to talk about that I don't think we ever really cover are interterrestrial beings. Beings that were here prior to human existence, right? That are out of our scope, that live nomadically, that have a higher sense of intelligence and use different technology than what we use, right? So nobody really talks about interterrestrial, but that's definitely something that we should keep an eye out for.
Absolutely. And here's a great question. Strange Invaders, that UFO show, UFO Busters. Do you guys think that Trump will disclose UFOs? He seems to be very into the UFO topic. If he had information, do you think he would actually disclose it? Tim, I'm going to have you answer that one. What do you think?
No, he's not. But he did say just yesterday or today that day one in office, maybe day two, he's going to tell what he knows about the drones.
Did he say that?
He did say that. He did say that.
And you know what his answer is going to be? I don't know anything about the drones.
Sorry to tell you, I don't know about the drones. But look, I've talked a lot about this recently. I'm not going to expound on it too much here, but two things that should tell you that we're not going to find out about UFOs from the government, and we're not going to find out about the drones probably from the government military. One, the JFK files. All these years later, and we still can't find out everything there is to know about the JFK assassination. And then number two, and our friend of the show, Lee Starks, author of Orbit, about a UFO crash retrieval team, who is also an experiencer, has experienced a triangular UFO craft of his own. Remember that, CJ?
Yeah.
Well, he was telling me the other day, do y'all remember the Bin Laden raid? The Bin Laden raid and the helicopter? We don't know anything still. Nothing. Nothing about that.
Some people know some things about that.
Oh, yeah. Some people know, but we don't know.
You're talking about with SEAL Team 6, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And they're not going to tell us.
Well, that's not entirely accurate, actually. There was video released of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, so much of that is still unknown, right? And still classified. And so to think that, they're going to tell us exactly what's happening with the drones or with UFOs. And CJ and I have talked to people like Nick Pope that have made great points that, if disclosure was easy, it would have already happened. It's quite possible, indeed, that the reason it hasn't happened is that there is a truth much too terrible for society to take. And this would explain why we are not finding out the truth and why we're in no danger of finding out anytime soon. Sorry, that's a little bit of a downer.
Mr. Beast is an alien leader, an alien overlord. And we're all just part of the simulation.
He's interested in the UFO topic. And CJ, we tried to get him on the show before. We have that North Carolina connection. We're based just down the road from him. But it's a good thing we never did get him because I probably would have been ineligible for Beast Games.
Who knows? I hear he doesn't have a whole lot of free time these days.
No, probably not. And so maybe one listener question for everybody to tackle. Do you think that's all right? Let's see. I like this one. I think this is a great one for everybody to give their opinion on. Let me pull it up here.
Okay, listener question. How would you rate yourself on a beast scale from 1 to 10 after the competition? Great. Okay, so Jesse, we'll start with you. What is your 1 to 10 on the beast scale?
Like what? Like how did I feel, or like what? I'm trying to understand the details of the beast.
I think they mean 10 being the best.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we get that 10 is a bit. Thank you. Does he mean like in the competition, how they did, or how they feel after the competition, or are we talking strength?
I think that's open interpretation.
Are we talking cool. Dark chocolate sea salt beast bar, or?
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll say 10 out of 10 as a beast. Brush it off. It happened. Move forward. Made some great relationships from it, and we're in the beast catalog now. We can always be pulled for something new. So let's get it.
That's a great outlook. Yes. How's anybody going to go after that? I'd be like, I feel like a 2. Yeah. All right. Okay. Wes.
I would say a hard 7.
A hard 7.
Yeah.
Solid.
I played the game, but you had to go in there with a mentality that you can't just sit in the corner. You have to meet friends. You have to talk to people. You just have to take it in every day and just enjoy it, because this is how I met Tim. We were just hanging out, playing cornhole for half of the day, eating good food, just enjoying it.
I mean, it wasn't half the day, right?
Yeah, most of the day, just talking to some of the people.
Those days were long and hard.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, just enjoying it. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go back to work. Enjoying the vacation, if some people would call it that. But yeah, Jesse was saying, you're in the catalog. He could call you up whenever if they want fresh faces. Yeah,
I hope so.
It sounds like part of it was fun and vacation, and the other part of it was torture. So give music. All right, Devin, how are you feeling post Beast Games? What are you on the Beast scale?
I think I'm probably a 6. I mean, because I kind of hid down in that middle area, and that was my game. Most of the time was okay, stay in the middle. In Vegas, I kind of was in the front a little bit. With Jesse knows I was trying to help with him, but then I'd step back a little bit because I know there was a lot of people that wanted to be the alphas, and I'm like, okay, let them be the alphas, let them do their own thing, let them try to take over the world and things like that. But I'll step back and I'll see because I wanted to see how far I could actually go. And I think in the middle of all that, I probably should have amped it up a little bit more. I probably should have went out and met more people and socialize more. And I did socialize a lot, but then I also backslid and stayed with my own group, which didn't help me. I mean, I was out in episode 4, so there's that. But yeah.
Yeah. So you think if you did it again, you would just be a little bit more social?
Yeah, I think if I did it again, I'd probably would push to be maybe a leader for a few things and try to help push that way. Because I mean, I'm loyal to the T. If I say I got your back, I got your back. I mean, even if it means I got to bow out myself, that's fine. I mean, if there was a season 2 and they let me back in, yeah, I could do that.
All right, Tim.
Well, I do have to tell this quick cornhole story. So,
boy, here we go.
First of all,
mute myself while I drink my drink.
The former pro wrestler and me, we got to be friends. What was his name again? Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Big dude.
I know who you're talking about. He had the brace on his knee, right?
Yeah.
Corey.
Corey, yes.
Yeah.
What was his wrestling name? Do y'all remember? Corey. I'm trying to remember his wrestling name. Well, anyway, him and I were cornhole partners, and we challenged Nolan and another partner one day. And I was just right. Quick story. And we smoked Nolan and his partner in cornhole, just obliterated him for the cornhole championship. But the story is, at some point there were these security guards on the towers, like guarding the stairs, so you wouldn't sneak up there. And there was this one security guard, had a big bushy beard. And I noticed one day he was watching us play cornhole, and I invited him over to play with us. And he's like, "Oh, no, I can't do that. That they won't let us, do that." And so I'm like, "Okay, cool." And we keep playing cornhole and everything. And we're in a close game, real close. And my team comes back and we take the lead. And about that time, I hear somebody yell, "What's the score?" And it's the security guard from the towers. And he had been watching us play cornhole, and he wanted to know the score update. My B scale, I'm going to give myself an 8 because I felt like I played super hard. It's why I didn't sleep in Vegas, because I was just trying to soak it all in. When I saw people I recognized, like Sifu from Survivor, I went and I talked to them. I made great new friends. I met people from American Ninja Warrior and all kinds of other things like that, people from all over the country. I made a lot of bonds. I had some packs, that, hey, we would pick each other if we had gotten the ticket there in episode 4. And I played and I strategized and I tried to figure out what was going on. And, and then it just didn't work out. And so for that reason, I'm going to give myself an 8 because I really played as hard as I could. But maybe next time, season 2, I'll move in that 9 or 10 category when I make it to the final 2 or 3 people.
Well, there you go, Mr. Beast. You have 4 people willing to come back for season 2. Do we think there will be a season 2?
Oh, there will be.
Yeah. With how successful it's been. Yeah. It has been just huge. And what a great job they did promoting this show, too. Did you guys see what they were doing in New York before the first episode aired?
Oh, the guys with the guards with the briefcases and stuff.
So that was one thing. They were doing that all over the world, but in New York, they had the stop walk signs, the like green little man go. It would turn to the Beast Games.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. And they had Beast Games on the side of huge buildings. And of course, when you guys were out in Santa Monica, they had that drone show that they did. They really spared no expense for promoting the show. It was super fun. And it's been really fun as a viewer to watch it. So well done to all of you. Thanks for giving up your time and your lives and your mental sanity and your health and well-being for our entertainment.
Anytime.
Absolutely. I'm not sure I want to know what our Australian friends are getting at here, but UFO Busters says, I play cornhole with some women of Australia and they love it. Nice way to make popcorn.
I'm lost. I'm sure there's
something. I think he meant conversation.
Where women glow and men thunder. They come from the land down under.
Good song.
We're still waiting on our Vegemite sandwich.
That's right. Get your Vegemite sandwich.
Vegemite. Oh my gosh, that stuff's horrible.
Hey, is it any more horrible than overnight oats? Though let me just ask.
Dude, I'll take overnight oats 100 times before. But Vegemite It
No.
just tastes like crushed cockroach. Like it's just, and I've never had crushed cockroach, but I would think that that's what it would taste like.
Oh
Look,
my
I'm not
God.
gonna lie. If I had 3 things in front of me, appetizers, overnight oats, Vegemite, and haggis. Overnight oats is my last pick. Like that's
What is haggis?
Stop
What is
it.
haggis?
You don't want haggis.
it's animal intestines in Scotland. They love it in Scotland.
It's like
Well, what is Vegemite made out of?
You got me, and so it can't be worse than overnight oats.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been so much fun. And Beth had to leave us early. And what a character she is. If you have not had a chance yet to check her out, go to Offline Granny. She makes the absolute best. I'm going to hold my phone up here for a second. Memes and gifts that you can get for your phone. I spent far too long today looking at all of her memes. She is a character. So check her out. And we've got, Devin Youngblood joining us. Devin, you have your own podcast, right?
I do.
So where can people find information about that?
It's everything's under the same name. It's under either the Youngbloods or the Youngblood Life, and it's everywhere you can hear a podcast. I mean, we're everywhere. So
Okay. Well, go check out Devin. Wes, anything you're promoting today?
Well, I could promote my school that I do. I'm the assistant program director for nuclear medicine school at UNC. Just trying to get the name out there.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, we don't have any advertisement because it's a tuition-free program. But if anybody wants to become a nuclear medicine technologist, just reach out to me.
Is that like a common thing that people sign up to do? No.
No,
Okay.
no one knows what I do.
Yeah.
Sounds
Whenever I tried
tempting, though.
explaining it, yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
"Do you make bombs?" I was like, "No, I teach."
Hmm.
Yeah,
I teach people.
Oh,
Yeah, I
darn
teach
it.
people.
We're on to the next.
Yeah.
All right. And Jesse, Tim gave me a list of all the things that you do. And I was like, phew, I'm going to let him explain it.
Yeah. I think the best thing for people to just connect with Astro J Forte. I actually just restarted my YouTube channel, so really excited about that. Have content going for the rest of the year, and just Instagram. So if anybody wants to hit me up, that's my calling. It's everything aerospace, analog astronaut, space exploration, but then also human performance and motivation. So hit me up.
Nice. And you said you've got content going for the rest of the year. When you say that in January, that's a big statement. People will say that in December and you're like, oh, okay, fine. The rest of the year. But the whole year, you're logged in for content.
Oh yeah, every day for the next
Every
365 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be sure to check you out, and everybody else should as well. And
On
then of course
YouTube.
there's us on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube. That's where it's at. All right, Tim, anything else you wanted to cover before we head out for the evening?
Well, I do want to encourage our listeners. We've got some folks chiming in. Check out friends of the show, Strange Invaders at UFO Show, UFO Busters on YouTube. They're friends of the show. Check out Nine Lives Energy, who's been with us all night tonight on YouTube. Our podcast, in case you didn't know, Patricia Cornwell still has a new book out. New York Times bestselling author Patricia Cornwell. Her latest book, New York Times bestseller, Identity Unknown. Turn to page 164. We're there. CJ and I are there. All Things Unexplained on page 164.
Yeah.
Marino and Dorothy's favorite podcast, and along with Ancient Aliens, their favorite television show. So we're pretty excited about that. And All Things Unexplained is imminently close to releasing a new nonfiction book on UFO whistleblowers. Nick Pope has been kind enough to write the foreword for the book for us, and Dan Warren has written the afterwards. So we're excited for that book to hit the market really soon from Schiffer Publishing. It's going to be called Voices in the Shadows, and it's a UFO whistleblower story book that uncovers a lot of things out there about underground bases, Tim Taylor, a whole lot of stuff, including some very disturbing things with UFOs. So that's all I'm going to say for now.
Oh, is that all you're going to say? Okay. Whew. Glad we didn't get too far with that one. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. That was a lot of fun. And I've really enjoyed watching Beast Games and getting to know each and every one of you. And now I have to go back and rewatch them with your numbers in mind so I can see what I missed before. All right, Tim.
Great.
Dare I give you the final word? I don't know.
You may as well. Thanks again
Buckle
to
up.
Wes. Thanks to Devin. Thanks to Beth. Everybody for joining us. Somebody wanted to know where can we find their links. All their links are in the show descriptions, and they will be there wherever you look at the show, and you can directly go to all of their stuff. Check out Devin's podcast. We always appreciate other podcasters, and follow his podcast and subscribe. You know, folks, one thing that I saw my own GIF recently, a meme, and it's something I'm going to try to do this year. And it said, you know what, movies would be real boring if the main characters just sat on their phones all day or sat behind a screen all day long. That would be such a boring movie. And it said, you know what, go out and do main character stuff. And that's what I'm going to try to do this year. And that made me think of Beast Games too. UFO Busters says, bye guys, bye UFO Busters. That's what I'm going to try to make my entire 2025 of. It's just an extension of Beast Games. Going out every day and making every day full of main character stuff. I think that's what I want to do in 2025. And I think everybody should do that. We all need to get off our phones, get off our screens, head outside, get out into the woods, go stargazing. You might not find Bigfoot, you might not spot a UFO, but you might find something even more important, and that is you might find yourself out there. Thanks, everybody.
Starring in the show, main character energy.
Main character stuff. Let's get it. 2025. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah.
All things unexplained.
What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about
Yes,
the Alaska.
we do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.
All Things Unexplained is free to watch on YouTube and listen to wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to support our show, you can visit our YouTube store. Additionally, you can find us on Venmo under All Things Unexplained. Be sure to check out our website, allthingsunexplained.com. All proceeds from the sales of Dr. Mounce's books on Amazon and Audible also go straight to our show.